It's one of the most overused phrases in NASCAR broadcasting. You know, so and so is a good road racer. It's said so often and without thinking that, in truth, the entire field doesn't have a bad road racer in the bunch. You have to have those skills, especially with more road courses filling the schedule in both Cup and Xfinity. But we still have drivers who are exceptional on road courses, and in the aftermath of Shane Van Gisbergen's stunning win in Chicago, more of them on the way. The true road course ringers. Road course ringer is also a phrase that's used quite a bit, but really shouldn't. It's a very rare thing, and the reason Van Gisbergen's win was so impressive. First, a road course ringer is someone with strong road course skills, of course. When you think of this definition, you may not think of ringers at all, but series regulars who happen to be excellent at road courses. In the past, it would have been Ricky Rudd, Rusty Wallace, Jeff Gordon, and Mark Martin, to name a few. These days, you'd have to look at drivers with multiple road course wins, like Kyle Larson, Martin Truex Jr., and AJ Allmendinger. All of these drivers, and those like them, are both exceptional on road courses and top-tier NASCAR drivers in general, yet none of them are true road course ringers. This leads to the second part of the definition, and this is where most people get it wrong. A true road course ringer cannot be a driver with extensive experience in NASCAR, particularly on ovals. I draw the line at whether a driver has raced, or was racing, in the Cup Series full-time. Juan Pablo Montoya does not count for his win at Sears Point in 2007, as he was already in the midst of his first full-time Cup season. It's nothing to do with his Formula One experience. At the time of that race, halfway through the year, Montoya was not on equal terms with fellow F1 drivers Jenson Button or Kimi Räikkönen, who in recent years made their first Cup laps in one-off starts on road courses. Those two have a much greater claim to the road ringer status. Most importantly, this status does not change if a driver then scales back from a full-time Cup schedule to only running the occasional road course. So no, AJ Allmendinger was not a true road course ringer when he won Indianapolis for Kaulig in 2021. That part-time schedule didn't undo all his experience that went all the way back to 2007. Nor would it have been the case if Jerry Nadeau had won Sears Point in 2002, or Wally Dallenbach Jr. if he won Watkins Glen in 1995. Not even Robbie Gordon, whose Cup career goes back to the 1991 Daytona 500. I would even debate about considering Scott Pruitt to be a ringer. Yes, he only ran road courses in Cup from 2001 through 2008, but before that, he was full-time in the 2000 Winston Cup season and even ran some double-duty weekends with the Busch Series. These drivers are not true ringers. At some point, you simply become a NASCAR driver who happens to be good at road courses. These are no different from superspeedway specialists such as Michael Waltrip and David Reagan, who also scaled back to only one type of track. A true road course ringer is a contradiction. It's a driver with specialized experience on road courses, but little to no experience racing stock cars. What's intriguing about this is that a driver can remain a ringer for many years because the road courses take up such a small portion of the schedule. This was the case for many of the original ringers, who were called upon to take over for drivers who struggled on road courses. Boris Said, Ron Fellows, Tommy Kendall, and Irv Hare, just to name a few. I know what you're thinking. Boris did once race full-time in the Truck Series, but remember, he did so at a time when the series ran mostly at venues entirely separate from the Cup Series. By the time he too attempted to run oval races in Cup, he continued to do so only part-time. His ringer status stayed intact. The drivers I listed were championship-caliber racers from their respective road racing series, and many came close to winning Cup Series races. In time, these drivers would put together deals of their own to continue running the road courses exclusively. But success is not necessarily a requirement of a ringer. After all, a ringer is expected to struggle, because by definition they have little to no experience in NASCAR. To this point, I've been talking mostly about ringers in the Cup Series, but today we see ringers in all three of NASCAR's top divisions, and they compete for different reasons. Some ringers are drivers who simply prefer to run road courses. This can include the so-called gentleman racers, who are involved in another business, such as Kenny Habul, CEO of Sun Energy, or Tommy Dreese, whose business makes posters and cardboard cutouts for Hollywood films. A ringer can also be a driver who happens to have turned a lot of laps on the track where the race is being held. Many races at Sears Point included Chris Cook, an instructor for the Bob Bondurant School of High Performance Driving. There's 62-year-old Samuel Lecomte, who has attempted to qualify for the last 3 straight Truck Series races at COTA. Or 55-year-old school teacher turned SCCA racer Darren Dilley, who made the 2022 Xfinity race at Portland. Taken together, a road course ringer is a driver with strong road course skills but little to no experience in stock car racing, even for years on end. It is a small, select category, and its members struggled for decades. Even before Cup Series regulars began to close the gap on the ringers, some questioned why the ringers were even used at all. Prior to 2023, the last true ringer to win a Cup Series race was the great Mark Donohue, who drove one of Roger Penske's AMC Matadors to victory at Riverside back in 1973. There were many close calls in those 5 decades. Tommy Kendall's flat tire while defending his lead at Sears Point in '91, Ron Fellows finishing second twice at Watkins Glen, or Boris Said's pole at Sears Point in 2003. But it wasn't until Shane Van Gisbergen won in Chicago in his Cup debut that the streak truly ended. In its aftermath, and with the next-gen car continuing to develop, we now embark on a new era where a road course ringer can truly stun the field. So with this definition in place, tell me, who is your favorite road course ringer? Leave your comments below, and as always, thank you for watching.
In America, there exists a sport that is driven by the fans. They are why everyone works so hard, on the teams and at the tracks, in front of the grandstands and behind the scenes, to give the fans the greatest race possible. NASCAR fans deserve the best, starting from the high banks of Daytona, all the way to the shores of California, and at every race in between. NASCAR fans, you're the reason for our success. Thanks.